Dial Models Workshop.
Hi, it's Yeji.
And Clint.
Hey, it's Larry. You are entering Models Workshop After Hours, a modeling podcast where we talk about miniatures, model painting, and we cuss a lot. If you can be offended, we're probably going to offend you. Then you're going to laugh, and you're going to feel bad. And then we'll offend you again, and then you'll laugh again. You see the pattern. So kick out, sit back, grab your brush, grab your paints, and get ready to have some fun. Hey, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Models Workshop After Hours. I'm down here in the dungeon getting ready to probably work and prep on a model because my painting desk is absolutely trash right now. Tonight we have
Mark. Woo!
Yeji isn't feeling well, and Clint is still on the opposite schedule. And I know we promised that we were going to try to get the fine folks over at Miniature Monthly on today, but we are having scheduling conflicts. They're very busy people, and we have a very specific window that we can record in. Don't worry, guys. We are still working on it, and as soon as we are able, we will have all of them come down and sit down with us, and we'll have a nice chat. Both the shows with Elizabeth and Aaron were amazing. I can just imagine how spectacular it's going to be when we have both of them on the show.
I'm sure they're busy. They just got back from Atlanta.
Mark, what have you been up to? Yeah, I saw their pictures. I was like, I'm getting jealous. They're all hanging out, going to conventions and competitions and having fucking beautiful meals and drinking and everything else. I'm like, I'm so sad.
Yeah, and Liz's piece looked really good, and I didn't get to see Aaron's piece. I'm sure it's probably amazing too, because I think he got like best in show or one of the best in shows. It was pretty neat.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's Aaron fucking Lovejoy. Of course, he got a best in show.
Yeah, I'd like to see it though. I know they just produced a non-metallic video just recently, and I want to say that if everyone is looking, that's Aaron and Liz's a little bit of.
Did they do a non-metallic talk?
Yep, they just put one up recently.
I thought it was true metallic.
No, I think it was non-metallic, but I think they're talking about. Someone was asking them when they're going to do when it's the right time to use true metallic versus non-metallic. So they might be putting something up like that. But I thought it was non-metallic.
Huh.
Maybe it is true metallic.
The video that I saw, the picture that I saw and then recasted was, I'm pretty sure it was true metallics. Because I know Aaron actually uses true metallics versus non-metallics if he can.
Yeah. And hence the whole like, Aaron, how do you make your non-metallics look so good? Well, they're metallic. Oh, okay. I'm just an idiot.
Right. Man, I've been doing an update, but this Olaf Miniatures, I believe it's either boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband and wife that paint together, and they're working on this freaking Hydra, and holy fucking shit, Batman. Talking about metallics looking, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I saw the one you posted, and the model itself is cool, but their paint job it makes it 10 times better. Very neat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's an amazing thing. One of my kittens just came down here and visited me. I'm sitting here, I'm looking up something, and all of a sudden I feel a little paw on my side, like, hi.
So right now...
Yeah, that thing is absolutely amazing.
I'm doing a mouseling, which is the one that... I don't know which one it is anymore, but both Michael or Mocha and Sarge or Kirk, they both got me a figure. I don't know which one it is now, so I'm just going to say they both got it for me. But they both got me one. I just don't remember which one I started painting this particular pattern on. But I had this really cool concept, really cool idea. I wanted to do like a mouse skull, and a little sculpt, and he was a necromancer raising him up. And every time I did it, it was I've sculpted it like twice now, and it's just not working. And even Yeji pointed out, she's like, it doesn't look real or good, so to speak. So I'm like, you know what? Ace this. I'm like, who sculpts these? So I looked up online, and it's this gentleman by the name of Gene Van Horn. And so I'm like, you know what would be cool? I said, I don't know if I can do it. I'd love to do something to this point. Just go right to the horse's mouth. Get this guy to see if he can get me a skeleton mouseling, or a banshee ghost mouseling, to see what it would be to do. And if I could get him to do it, pay him some money, throw him some money to get it done, and then see if Reaper will pick it up for their mouseling line for maybe Halloween or something. I don't know, it'll be on them. I just want to get it done for my own personal diorama that I want to use. Because I've got a cool concept going. I love the little miniature. I love what I've done with it so far. I just want to make it better. And I think the next step would be to add a couple more pieces to it. So Patrick from Bombshell's like, here's
my suggestion. Oh, I was going to say my suggestion whenever he showed the piece to me. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And Yeji was like, the skull's shaped wrong for a real mouse. And so, okay. I was like, hey, go to Amazon and buy an actual mouse skeleton because they sell them. You can buy them. And then it was a scale issue. And I was like, just make it a giant. And he's like, no, because a real skull isn't cute enough.
And it's not. And I've tried it. I went and looked up your idea. I went and looked up 3D mouse skull printings you could get because they could scale it down. But I know it's silly, but the actual, the mouselings from Reaper, they have a real unique, sort of a wide face, and they're not the same. So I'm thinking, okay, this guy he sculpted the whole line. So maybe he could bring his...
Can't they
what?
I was going to say, can't you just take the 3D print file and skew it a little bit? Like, hey, widen it at the jaws, but keep the nose still nice and tight and make the forehead taller.
Probably, but that's beyond me. That's totally beyond me. I don't even know where to begin with that. I could probably get or ask Alberto to do that. He's good with that kind of stuff, but that's really beyond me. I just figured it would be a cool concept, and if this guy can do it and Reaper likes it and they pick it up, you know what I mean? Then it's not for just like me. Other people could use it. So, because I think that would be a cool concept. They did all the really cool chibi Halloween horror guys, and they had a little skeleton in there. I don't know if he sculpted those, but he's done the mouselings. So for like a Halloween set, they could do like a cute like skeleton mouse, you know, a banshee or a ghost, maybe even a little vampire mouseling, a little witch mouseling. I don't think they've done that, but it'll be cool, you know. But the necromancer, I'm going a little bit more morbid with it. I mean, I put the Reaper skull on top of his cowl. His scythe has like a bird skull into it. I'm really going to town, and it's fun. Like, I'm having a lot of fun with it. But I really want to go forth. And after I saw it, and Yeji was like, "No, it's wrong." And I'm like, you know what? You're right. It's weird looking. It doesn't fit the theme because even though it's morbid and creepy looking, it's still cute. And this wasn't cute. So,
how in the hell is it that Yeji says, "Oh, that doesn't look good," and you're like, "You know what? You're right." But if I say something doesn't look good, you will literally argue with me for weeks about it.
It's because she's usually not that brash about it. Like, she's usually not that straightforward about it. I know that seems weird, but when you're very straightforward about everything. You're like, I don't like this, I don't like this, and I'm like, no problem. And I take your advice with tiny bits of salt, but it doesn't mean that they're not taken at all, because I'll take a look and I'm like, okay, you're right, and you are right. You've gotten a lot of stuff, you know, certain things I don't agree with you on certain parts, but I'm like, okay, I can see where you're coming from. But when Yeji flat out says, no, I don't like it, I'm like, oh shit, that's okay. And it because it takes you aback when, you know.
Oh, so
go ahead.
So you're telling me it's the fact that you're growing immune to my skepticism because I do it too often.
Not immune to it, but I do take it with a little bit of salt. Like, and it's just, and not in a bad way because you're critical of it, but you're critical in a way that makes me help look at it. But sometimes, like with the fire and the flames, you know, we were talking about that. I started doing the sponge technique on it. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I did not like it at all. It was not the look I was going for. It had this smoky look to it, which looked more realistic. And I went back.
It's fucking fire! It's fucking fire! You're telling me that you don't like the fire because it has a smoky effect to it? It's fucking fire! It makes smoke. It is supposed to have a smoky fucking look to it.
You are correct, sir.
Oh, some people.
You are correct, sir. But here's the premise. It is, and I'm allowed to talk about it. I guess I'm not allowed to show my work. Mind you, I don't have a full page spread article, you know, marketing ploy for my crystal brush, so I'm going to talk about it. No offense to anybody who does that, but I don't do that. It is a sniper chibi with camo cloak, and she's like rocket jumping over a flame. it's supposed to be sort of like, I want it to be more cartoony and smooth. As soon as I added that extra bit of realism, it took away from it. And it looked real. It looked more realistic, but it just didn't fit. It didn't have that feel to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not wrong. It's just the feeling I got after I was like, no, I don't like it. I did try it. Here's the thing. You're not wrong on it. It's just,
I swear,
from the standpoint and the look I was going for, it didn't work. That's all I'm saying. But on a side note.
Okay, so.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I looked it up real quick. The Chibi-Tastics, the Bone Sylvanias, whatever the hell they're called. Reaper's Chibi line. 90% of it was sculpted by Bob Ridolfi.
Okay.
The other remaining pieces, and I mean like one here, one there, is Julie. It appears that Julie Guthrie either did 2 or 3 pieces. Bobby Jackson did a piece as far as I can see, and Gene Van Horn did 1 piece.
I think Bobby Jackson did like the Illithid or something like that.
No, he did Maddie, which is... Or no, Bobby Jackson did Gulp, which is the creature from the Blue Lagoon.
Okay. Well...
But pretty much the Illithid was done by Bob Ridolfi. Okay. Like the 2 chibis that I actually own, Jake, a.k.a. Jason, and the dead body dude, the zombie, which is going to be the dead body floating in my diorama if I ever get it done, was also done by Bob Ridolfi. But yeah, almost everything was Bob Ridolfi. The Familiars was Julie Guthrie. Julie Guthrie did like 3 or 4, it looks like. Bobby Jackson did 1. That's not shitty.
I like the Familiar pack.
But yeah, so
I do like the Familiar pack. I think it's worth it to pick it up, and I've used it on a couple different things. I like it.
Yeah, Morty was done by Bob,
okay.
And then Gil, which is the other creature from the Blue Lagoon, it was done by Julie. The werewolf was done by Julie. Julie looks like she has about 6 pieces. Bob did did almost all of them, except for Bobby Jackson did like 1.
I'll be honest.
So it's mainly Bob.
The werewolf is my favorite, actually, out of all of them. I think he's one of the best ones.
See, Jake has a special place in my heart. I really like Jake, but they really need a Frank.
You know what? They have a Frankenstein.
With a glove.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're saying. I don't know if they get away with it.
Yeah, how they have Jake for Jason.
Yeah.
A Frank for Freddy.
I don't know if they get away with that. But the people who did that stuff.
My original diorama.
The people that did that, I think if they're all different artists, they did a great job of making them all look very similar and flowing into the art style. I think they did a good job on that.
Well, it's 3 different artists. But mainly it's Julie and Bob.
I'm just saying I think they did a good job.
Bobby Jackson did like 1 or 2 pieces
together the styles to make them look good.
I actually had to go look it up. I actually had to look them up, and there's definitely a flow of style. If you hadn't told, if you showed them all to me and go find the different sculptors, I would have been hard pressed. Julie and Bob models are definitely on point with each other, and Bobby Jackson's is pretty much on point as well.
Yeah, I think they're really good.
But moving along real quick, my hobby update. I got more stuff down in the basement. I reorganized everything. I got both monitors working on my video editing machine. My painting desk is absolutely trashed, but I was able to record some unboxing material for Andrea's Miniatures. I'm working on getting one of their videos edited and published, so hopefully soon, guys. It always made me feel real warm and fuzzy when I found out that people at Andrea Miniatures listen to our podcast. I was like, really? Wow. I mean, that was really cool. I was like, because I've always loved Andrea Miniatures. They have probably some of the best 56 millimeter miniatures on the market. They're white metal. They're not super cheap, but you get what you pay for. You're paying $35-$40 for a single model, even more for some of the more intricate ones, and you get $40 worth of miniature. It's nothing to laugh at. Their sculpts are absolutely amazing. Their molds are really good. And no, guys, they didn't pay me to say this. I truly am a fan of Andrea Miniatures. If you don't believe me, you can go ask Lynn Stahl of Linsanity, a.k.a. Metalhead Minis. She'll tell you I've been a fan of Andrea's Miniatures for a long time. I used to buy my Andreas miniatures through Metalhead Minis. But yeah, it's absolutely, they're some of the most gorgeous stuff. And I think I mentioned it on Laz podcast. I think they're trolling me because they literally sent me the 2 kits that I always bitch about having to paint. They're like, he hates non-metallic metallics and flush. We're going to send him the flush kit and the non-metallic metallic set. Thanks, guys, because now you're forcing me to paint this because just to try it out. Thanks a whole bunch. But that's still pretty awesome. Getting some testing done. Other than that, I've purchased almost all of the Infinity miniatures for Disney Infinity Miniatures Series 3. And most people are like, what the fuck does this have to do anything? But Myers, which is a local chain up here, is kind of like Walmart, had them on sale for $2.50 a piece. And before the line got canceled, these things were like $15 each. So I saw them for $2.50. And if you ever see them in stores, look at them. They look good. They're actually really good looking miniatures.
They are. I think they look nice.
At $2.50 a piece, they make good fan icona. Just something to sit on a bookshelf to look cool or look neat. And it was cool because Series 3 was actually a lot of the characters that I really, really liked. Like the hare and the fox from Zootopia, where it was in that series. Nemo and Dory from Finding Dory were in the series. All the Star Wars characters were in Series 3. So I was able to pick Boba Fett, Darth Vader, Kylo Ren. Marvel was Series 3, even though I'm missing probably more Marvel than I am anything else. So for some reason, those were sold out. It was great. My last purchase was, maybe I should actually pick up the game. I was like, I own 40 of the models. I probably should get the actual game. So if we ever want to, we can actually play Infinity. And my boys actually really enjoy it. So I was able to find it on sale for $20. And the cool thing about that was it came with Luke and I'm going to get some really hardcore nerd rage because I have no idea what this girl's name is, even though she's a major character in the Clone Wars cartoon. But it's the girl with green lightsabers that has the white and gray stripy hair. She's like Luke's apprentice.
I think she's a Twilight. I don't know her name offhand, but because I haven't seen the Clone Wars, so.
But yeah, so that was in the box set. So if anything, that was kind of worth it right there because you get the. But no, it's really cool. And now I'm actually trying to track down some of the Series 2 ones that I really liked, like the black suit Spider-Man, Venom, stuff like that. Because the original, the Guardians of the Galaxy miniatures, because I want Racket fucking Raccoon. Who doesn't? But that's primarily been my update. Other than buying stuff, it's like, I can't work in my studio, so I'm going to buy more shit to shove into my studio. Because, why not? I went to the movies tonight with the wife, like impromptu date night, but we swung over to Hobby Lobby beforehand, and I needed a block of beeswax. And for most people, you're probably wondering, why do you need beeswax, Larry? Because beeswax, especially natural beeswax, and other wax will work, like soy wax or some of the pure paraffin wax or whatever. I like beeswax because it's completely natural. But I picked it up because it works really, really well when you airbrush. Like if you take your airbrush needle and rub beeswax on it before you put it in, and don't leave clumps of beeswax on your damn airbrush. That's bad. But if you take it and rub it on there and then rub it really good into the needle, or if you rub it on the threads, like as you put the nozzle on, you rub it a little bit on the threads or on the nozzle cap, or even just put a really fine coat if you have a floating head or a floating nozzle, put a little bit right there. Yes, there's already seals in place, but what happens is the wax will act as a secondary barrier because it's soft, it's malleable. So when you put it, like if you put the floating nozzle into your airbrush, like I said, fine layer. If you can look and see beeswax or wax on there, too much. You literally shouldn't be able to see the wax on there. But whenever you smash it in there, any little micro imperfections, the beeswax will settle into, and it'll stop air leaks. It'll stop. It's a good stop measure if you can't use Teflon. And also, it's good for needles because wax is one of those substances that repels water, repels moisture. They used to use wax to waterproof stuff. They still do, I believe. But so you put it on the needle and you polish it down. Not only does it go into the slight micro imperfections that you can't see, but it also makes it where the paint doesn't stick to your needle as much too. So I went out and I was looking for like a 2-ounce sized chunk of wax, because if you think about my explanation that I just said, you're not supposed to see it. You don't use a lot of wax. The smallest size that they had was a pound. So I now have a pound block of beeswax. I figure by the time I burn through this much freaking bees, and like, you'd be surprised how much beeswax a fucking pound is. It's huge. Like, you would think, oh, it's probably the same size as a pound of cheese. Oh, no. It's about twice the size of a 1 pound block of cheese. So it's fucking huge. I figured that I'll be about 374 before I use all of the beeswax. About the same age I would be if I actually finished all the miniatures that I have in my studio. And then another purchase I made were these Molotow, and I've heard this brand of pin before. They're acrylic paint pins, and they're fucking expensive. That's what they are. They're typically like $10 a piece. But they're acrylic paint pins, just like if you've ever seen anyone sign a baseball card in metallic ink. It's kind of along those lines, except these are acrylic. And I don't know what the hell's going on, but my local Hobby Lobby had these $8 and $9 markers, $10 markers on sale for $2 a piece.
That's a pretty good price.
So I bought 9 of them. I bought one of each extra fine tip for each color. Like, I picked up like zinc yellow, metallic silver, signal black, hazelnut. I figured hazelnut would be good for doing some tints and everything. I picked up purple because I like purple. Basically, if it was a color and an extra fine tip, I bought it, at least one. Universe is green, kind of like a shale green looking thing. And then I picked up metallic pink because I'll figure something out. And then metallic light green, and then traffic red. And that was all they had in the extra fine. There was a couple colors they had in like 2 and 4 millimeter, but I really couldn't think of a good use to pick up a 2 and 4 millimeter for what we do. I mean, I probably should have for Gundams. These pins would probably have been fucking epic for painting Gundams, now that I think about it.
You can always go back.
Oh, well, I'm going to... Right, and even the 4 millimeters were $2 a piece. And then, last week's purchases. Clearance section, gotta love it. I picked up a 4-ounce bottle for a Pache airbrush, which actually fits my Siphon Neo as well. And it's normally like $7, picked it up for $1. Always, if you go to Hobby Lobby, always go to the clearance section that has the painting stuff in it. Like, you never know what you're literally going to find in there. I have found one of those little spray things for an airbrush. You stick your airbrush into and you empty it, and it filters the stuff out of the air. I found one of those there for like $4. I find stuff, and it's weird. Like, it's shit that they are not discontinuing, but it'll be in the clearance section. Like, hey, this 4-ounce bottle for a Pache airbrush has been sitting on our shelf for too long. We're going to go ahead and put it on clearance, even though we still carry the exact same model. Whatever. I picked up a 16-ounce bottle of Mod Podge because I've been watching this guy on YouTube here recently, and he uses Mod Podge for fucking everything.
So, okay, explain to me what Mod Podge is.
It's a water-based sealer, glue, and finish. Oh, have you ever seen someone take a comic book and cut the pages out and then glue them to a wall?
Yeah, I think so.
And then it dries and it doesn't even look like there's anything gluing it on there. It just looks like the newspaper was almost printed on the wall.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
That's Mod Podge. It's basically Elmer's glue on crack, because you can use it as a finish. You can You can put something on and you can Mod Podge over it. And when it dries crystal clear. The only difference is if you put the gloss or the matte. If it's matte, of course, it's going to dry matte. If it's gloss, of course, it's going to have a shine to it. But I picked up the matte because most of the stuff we work in is matte. And that's what he uses because he does a lot of terrain stuff. But it's basically Elmer's glue if you could use Elmer's glue to glue down or seal or a whole bunch of other lovely little things. But what he uses it for, it's really neat. Like he does a lot of terrain stuff. He's a train guide like Thomas. He does model trains. And he does a whole bunch of realistic kind of like diorama boards. And what he'll do is he'll take a dry board, sprinkle the board with the basing material, spray the board with either alcohol or what he calls wet water or slippery water, which is 1 part or a 100 parts water, 1 part dish soap. He'll soak the entire board in that, like all the terrain pieces that he just glued down. And then he'll take a spray bottle of Mod Podge that he's mixed up. It's not pure Mod Podge. It's like Mod Podge mixed with water, or mixed with 1 part Mod Podge, 2 parts water, and 2 drops of dish soap, Dawn. And he'll take it in a mister, like just a mister, and mist over the entire fucking board, like everything. And it literally glues the basing material to the board hard as a rock.
That sounds pretty ingenious.
I was like mind blown. I was like, right on. Yeah, I'm sitting there going, I have been doing this fucking ass backwards for like the last 20 years. I'm just watching this guy going, like this last 2 weeks. He doesn't have a ton of videos either. That's the killer thing. He's got like 200,000 or 300,000 subscribers, and he's a modeler. He's a fucking modeler. I'm sitting there going, why haven't I heard this guy before? You know? But it was in a suggested feed, and I was like, oh, let me go look at this. And I watched it, and I was like, that was fucking just awesome. So I've since then went and watched every other video that he has, because why not? I mean, I've learned so much shit. I've been painting for 20 fucking years. I learned so much shit watching this guy for the last week, and I'm sitting there going, well, fuck. Like the Mod Podge trick. I was like, we've been doing this shit. We've been using watered down fucking Elmer's glue and dipping our models into it, trying to act like we're cool and shit. And we're not. We're doing it the fucking hard way.
That's how I did all my gloss coats for years.
Yeah, he shows you how to... He shows how to build... He has... I swear, he literally sits down for like 5 minutes and makes 50 freaking grass tufts. Those little grass tufts that you buy that are typically, like 10 of them are fucking $8. Yeah. He makes like 50 of them in like 5 minutes with his homemade static grass applicator that he made in like 10 minutes. I'm sitting there, I was like, wow.
Think about how much money you could save.
Holy shit. People make, I can tell you how much a static, there's people who make the clump grass maker. It's like a special quote unquote machine, and it's like $50 fucking $60, something like that. Luke APS did a review on a couple of them not too long ago. They're fucking expensive.
No, I can imagine.
He made his own out of like he made his own out of like $5 of the parts. And the thing about it is, when he made his own, he used his static grass applicator that he made. And that's what it was, $5. Everything else is like a little, it's like a little fucking thing of balsa wood, a little scrap piece of balsa wood that's 3 millimeters thick that he fucking drilled holes into. It was a scrap piece of wood. He drilled fucking holes into it. And he's like, hey, look what I can do with these. Da, 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 da. Wow. And they look fucking amazing. They really look like the professional clump grass that you would buy from Woodland Scenics. Like I said, I watched every one of his videos. I learned so much. His shit is amazing. And everyone who's listening to the podcast is probably screaming out like, who the fuck are you talking about? So, because we want to watch his videos too. And I absolutely recommend watching it. It's like Boulder Creek something. Let me check.
So,
what else you got to talk about, Mark?
Well, The only other thing I've been working on is my crystal brush entries, and I'm actually not working on one of those tonight. I'm doing my mouseling because I'm having fun with it, trying to take a little bit of break. I've been stressed out a little bit from the whole category from Chibis that was taken away, and now it's been re-entered. So I want to give a big thanks to everybody who came in and went to the Crystal Brush webpage or Facebook page and said, please bring it back. Big thanks to Larry and Yeji and Clint for, a lot of support because they knew I was upset. And Larry went on and he's like, you know what, we should talk about this. And it's important not only to you but to like the community, because there's a lot of Chibi fans out there, and it's one of those things where I don't want to make a martyr thing out of it, but it's a huge industry right now, and it's really up and coming. A lot of miniature companies out there are going into it, and there's a difference. There's a big difference. So, and I want to say thanks to Jen for hearing us out. It's a big thanks because a lot of times people won't do it. They're just like, whatever, it's changed, we're done. But she took the time after we sort of made some posts and we're asking questions, and maybe a little bit of bitching, complaining on my part too, because I was upset. It's my passion. It's my love. I love those little guys. You can ask anybody. That's when I really got into miniature painting, was when I found that style or genre of miniature. And she took the time to say, okay, let's do a post, send me your feedback. And we did. There was like 56 in like a couple days. And I thought they were done. I didn't think they were going to do it, but they changed their mind. So I'm extremely grateful. Say big thanks to Jen Haley for taking the time to listen to us, and the Cool Mini or Not people from doing it, especially because, Arcadia Quest is huge. So I've been working on that. You saw my base recently, and you gave me some advice. I think I was messaging you and Michael's the other day going, Larry, is this the right one? But I haven't actually sprayed it yet, and I was going to show it on Twitter, but Cool Mini or Not has a big thing about showing the finished model, and I haven't showed anything's been finished yet. And I feel if I put the actual piece on the base, it might be too much. But a couple other people sent me tells. They're like, no, there's people that have whole ad campaigns when it's time for voting, and they post it up. And it's so I'm like, I don't know if I should post it now. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to be the example, like, okay, look, this is what you shouldn't do, and get banned from going. But it's really true. You'll see this. They'll be like, for when the voting time comes, there'll be ad campaigns for their miniature, like full-on spreads of like amazingly shot, detailed pictures with like vote for here, and it's a link to the direct page on Cool Mini or Not site to vote. So I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't.
Oh, I've seen them. I've seen them.
Yeah, I don't do it myself. I will link to the Chibi category and say, please vote. I will link to the actual thing. I've even linked another artist. I did it last year in the Ninja All-Stars Facebook page, because I didn't put a Ninja All-Star in, but Rico did, and it was amazing. And I linked his because, hey, come vote. See that, your style that you like is being represented in the Chibis. And, a lot of people did. So I don't know. Like, if you're going to link your stuff, that's fine, I guess. But, like, you should see some of the spreads that some of these people come in as. And it's I don't know. I don't agree with it. Let's just put it that.
It's disappointing. It's disappointing because you shouldn't have to go against people. Like, I fucking kid you not. I saw sponsored ads. People were paying for Facebook advertisements for their model during the show.
I know. Yep.
I was seeing sponsored advertisements on my Facebook for some of these models, and if anything should be against the rules, it should be that. It's turned into, it's not about how great the model is. It's a fucking popularity contest. If you're a big name, and okay, example, because I don't think he's entering, and I'm using this because I talk to him a lot, and it's not me calling him out. But if Aaron would hop it, well, no, actually he did enter, but I don't think he ever advertised. Okay,
no,
Mark, I'm just going to use you so I don't offend anyone. Okay, so I always use you, Mark. If Mark is well known in the chibi community. Or Elizabeth, she's really well known in the chibi community. So she posts up, "Hey guys, look at my model." Or you post up, "Hey guys, look at my model." All of your friends and the people who respect you and like you and everything else are going to vote you higher because of your name instead of because you have the better paint job. And I'm not saying you might not have the best paint job, but even, okay, like say it's you and Elizabeth going nose to nose, and you both have superbly painted miniatures. And I'm not saying this to be mean, it's because you're too fucking humble, but honestly, Elizabeth is probably going to get more higher votes because she's a more vocal part of the community. She talks more, she's out there a little bit more. You are a little more controlled. You're more behind the scenes. A lot of people know who you are, but fuck, dude, you were on the show for 10 goddamn episodes before I found out you had a goddamn golden demon. I mean, that's the type of person you are. She's more of an extrovert while you're kind of more of an introvert. And it's one of those deals where the extroverted people are going to have that extra little push because people know who they are.
Well,
and people are going to look at it. And it's the same way. If I entered something and I've pissed off people, and they look at my entry, they might vote it on the simple fact that I told them one of their miniatures sucked. I said that they were a fucking twat waffle for what they posted on Twitter. That whatever multitude of reasons. Hey, it was stupid that you took the chibi category out. Or, hey, any one of 100 times that I've stood up on my fucking soapbox and went off on people, they might vote me because of that. Or they, instead of voting, they might give me a 7 so it doesn't get caught by the sniping thing as readily as if they would just vote me. And it kind of works both ways. That's honestly why I understand why it's an online competition, because CMON is online, but on the same token, that's part of the reason I don't like it, because it's a fucking popularity contest. It's not always the best miniature wins. It's whoever's the most liked influences the winner too. And I'm not saying that the winners are not all amazing pieces. They are, but sometimes there's been a couple times that I've looked and I was like, why did that piece win over that one? This one is easily superior to this one. And sometimes it's the name that's attached to it. It's because it turns into a popularity contest. And also, one thing I will say about putting I think it's part of the reason it's quote unquote taboo to post your miniature up prior to the competition, and I'm going to mark, and this is why I say don't do it, is because it desensitizes people to the awesomeness of your paint job. If you show me a model 10 times before the competition, the first time I see it, I might be, that's fucking amazing. By the 10th time I've seen it, it's like, oh, it's a nice model. But then I get the awe factor. You're missing you're taking the awe factor away from it.
Yeah.
By showing it before the competition. And you don't want to remove, and this is anyone who plans on entering Crystal Paintbrush, stop showing your fucking models. Straight up, stop showing your models, because you're removing that awe factor. And you want that awe factor. You want whenever you show the model off for the first time, for it to grab the person that you're showing it to by the balls and go, I'm the fucking most badass miniature. And if you do it before the competition, like if I see your piece prior to the competition, the first time I see it, I'm going to be like, that's fucking amazing, dude. That's awesome. But by the time the competition rolls around, I don't have that awe factor with you anymore because I've seen it. I've been desensitized. But when Elizabeth or when Drew or when Mocha's model comes up, I'm going to go, oh, wow, that, and it's going to grab me by the balls and go, hey, look at me, motherfucker. Because it has that awe factor. It has that shock and awe, wow factor. And that's what you really, really want. Because if I look at a model, because if you're judging if you actually go through and judge every category on the Crystal Paintbrush, it takes a good solid 2 hours. So, and you really you can't sit there for 20 minutes and look at each model. So you look at it, oh, that's nice. Another reason you don't want to post pictures up prior to, it allows fucking anal assholes like myself to download the pictures, blow them up, and find all the imperfections. and go, yeah, this isn't as good because look at here. There's a mold line. There's some clumpy paint. It's kind of, and maybe the shadow's kind of funny. No, I'm not seeing it. But if I'm seeing it on the competition site, I'm not gonna give it the scrutiny that I would. Like a lot of y'all, when y'all post pictures up in Models Workshop, or just even on your feeds, you'll be surprised how many times I take and download that picture and blow it up and look at it. And that's why I'll be like, hey, dude, you got a mold line right here, right next to the right nipple. And because I will blow pictures up and I'll be like, hey, look at this. And blah, blah,
so
blah,
everything
blah, blah.
I've done recently, and I have taken some pictures, they've been like, maybe they've been done, but then after they were done, I've taken them back. So one of the things about my main entry that happened is that when I was taking my class with Sam, he looked at it and he's like, this is so monotone. You need to add more contrast into it. And I'm like, really? I don't think so. And he's like, trust me, it's very monotone. And so I was like, okay. And mind you, that was back when I was doing my whole pastel phase, as Jan likes to call it. So, and it was. I had a very bad pastel phase. I thought it looked cool, and they do look cool, and I was taking it up too light. And when you take everything up too light, it all starts to blend together, and you don't have the contrast. So I was talking to Michelle, and Michelle said the exact same thing. She's like, if you're planning on entering that, you need to add some contrast. So I took that figure back, and I did some pretty intensive glazes and line work around the recesses, and I think he looks a lot better. When I've added him to the base that I've done, he pops even more so than I thought he would. So when you get the overall feel, the wow factor will be there because you haven't seen him on the base. Well, you have because I've asked you for critiques, but people in general, when you put him on the base, it's the overall feel to it. And I think it's gonna hopefully should go over well. It's the first time I'm trying out a couple. It's a brand new mini line for me. It's a brand new, even though it's chibi, it's a brand new scale for me. And the base is a brand new concept for me. It's a similar concept I've done in the past, but it's a new idea that I've done, and I'm excited about it, but I'm also nervous. So we'll see how it goes over.
Now, was that the miniature that just after waiting months and months just showed up? Like when the person didn't tell you that it was coming in and it just showed up?
Yes, it's hint, it's okay. From St. Petersburg. So
right. That's what I thought it was.
It is.
I know what the model is. I've seen the entire fucking thing.
Right. I've asked you guys for advice many, many times, and that's if anyone doesn't do this, get into a painting group. Get into a painting group with diverse painters and artists, and ask questions and share your work and talk.
And an asshole.
And talk.
And an asshole.
And get someone who is very open-minded and has no qualms about telling you what you need to do to fix it. Or as Layer would say, an asshole. But once you do that, you will watch your work improve. It will improve. The best thing to do is ask questions, ask for help, ask for advice. But you have to be open to reception. If someone says, by the way, this is wrong, you can't just be like, I disagree with you. You have to ask for input of like, why do you think it's wrong? Why do you... Shut up, Larry. I know what you're talking about. Because I get the boob thing.
No. It wasn't. It's not you. No. It wasn't the boob thing. It was someone completely different who got fucking 5 shades of anal butthurt over something I said and fucking stormed out of our paint group.
Well, besides that person, I know who you're talking about. Besides that person, it's.
I fucking hope you do.
It's helpful, and I recommend anybody who listens do that. Ask questions, talk to people. Most people are pretty receptive and they're like, "Hey, yeah, I'll try to help you." Mind you, you have to be okay with me saying, "Okay, this is wrong," or "I think you should do this," and you have to if you don't take it, then that's fine. That's on you, but that's my advice. Every single person who's told me to fix something, besides most recently Larry with a fiery explosion, which I don't like, I've really put to heart. I've taken it and said, okay, you're right. Most recently, I had a base that I was hand punching leaves and putting them on a stick to make it look like a little tree, and Yeji said to me, the other thing is wrong on it, and I literally I stopped and I scrapped it. because she's right. I was like, okay, this isn't working. And I spent probably 4 hours just on the base, and I'm going to go a different direction. So, but you have to see that advice because you're looking at it with your eyes and you're saying, okay, this is good. I think it's good. Oh, it's great. It's looking good. Someone could turn the corner and be like, that doesn't work at all. And you have to be open to be like, I need to change it. Or you know what, I'm going for this look, or this is what I want to do. Help me make it a reality. Help me change it to you see it. Or you talk to them about the piece, like, this is what I'm going for. Because if they don't understand what you're going for, you're like, oh, now I see. Okay, well then, yeah, if that's what you're going for, I can understand it. But if they turn around and say, no, it doesn't work at all, you have to be like, okay, you're right, and take a step back and be like, maybe I'll do something else. I'll put this tree base on something else. And that's what I started doing with my little mouse guy. I'm still painting him, but I was excited about the base and the concept art. But we'll see. I'm excited if I hear back from that Mr. Van Horn. That would be awesome. But or maybe even some other painter or sculptors that we know that's pretty famous. I'm not going to name names like Patrick. Patrick.
You actually have to message him. He said he's been so busy on his workload that he hasn't had a chance to.
I believe it. Yeah.
To even listen to the podcast.
I believe it.
He's been fucking outrageously busy. Holy shit. I got more of a deal on these Molotow fucking markers than I thought, because okay, so if you go to Hobby Lobby, it's always expensive. And I was like, all right, $9 for a paint marker, whatever, it's probably only $3 or $4, but at $2 it's still a good deal. Oh no, they're fucking $8 on Amazon. I may be going back and picking up the ones that I missed.
Yeah, I would at that price. Shit.
In the 2 and the 4. Yeah, $2.15 a pin. Yeah. So I didn't realize, because actually I have some of these saved in one of my lists because someone recommended their chrome marker, and it's saved on the Models Workshop list. I didn't realize it was the same brand. So yeah, so I paid less than $20 for 9 of their markers. You go and try to buy the box kit they have for 20 of their or for 10 of their markers. It's $80 or $60, and that's for the discount. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I'm not complaining, but no, yeah, your model's looking really fucking amazing, and the dedication you put behind your craft, and we all have dedication, but Mark will literally do 5 different bases for his model, and will put 5 hours in on a base, and you're like, hey dude, that's not working, the smoke is wrong. He'll scrap it, and he'll do a completely different base, and then he'll scrap it, and you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna do a tree, and then he'll scrap it. It's the dedication level's wow.
It's one of those things where you have to be able to be like, okay, this isn't working. Why is it not working? And if someone can give you advice, and it's good to brainstorm in the middle of the process. And that's why I was saying the painting group is awesome, because I can ask questions and get an honest. If you can't get an honest reaction and feedback, then you're in the wrong painting group. If you're there for fluff, then you're not going to improve your art. You're not going to improve your style.
If you want a fluffer, go get into fucking porn.
So. Oh, and I.
Now, here.
I was going to do a little self plug.
Okay.
I am so close. My Facebook page, Max Paint, is so close to 1,000. I'm at $9.95. I'm shamelessly self plugging. There's no. It's just an artist page. I just show off some of my stuff there. Take a look. I will never sponsor it. It will never be sponsored because I'm not a commission artist. It's just for fun. So I'm never going to have a sponsored page. But if you're interested in chibis...
I can't have a sponsored page, so fuck yourself, Mark.
Why? What happened?
I don't know. I really don't. I'm literally banned from boosting... from the developer side of things, whenever you have a page and you go to quote-unquote sponsor something or make something an advertisement, it's called boosting. I am banned from boosting. I have no fucking idea what I did. They said that my advertisements were flagged. I pissed someone off, and they false flagged all of my fucking advertisements as being the reason I was given from Facebook was that I was misleading advertisement, misleading
But we
fucking
don't sell
advertisement.
anything.
And I'm sitting there going, I told the guy at Facebook, and they told me that their word is final. And I'm like, what do you mean I don't have an appeal process? You never even sent me a fucking email telling me my account was banned from posting advertisements. You never sent me anything. I had to find it out. I thought the boost was unavailable because the credit card that was attached to my Facebook account was lost, and I had to get a new one. And I never went back in and put it back in. So I thought the boost was unavailable because the credit card was showing invalid. Well, I went to go put my actual credit card in and start boosting posts again. And it wouldn't let me. It kept kicking me out. And I'm not talking I can't do Models Workshop. I can't do Gen 24 Miniature Painter. I can't do the Six Latino Caucus, which is an actual government organization that I'm part of. And I run their Facebook group. I can't boost their posts. I can't do anything. And they told me because my advertisements were misleading. And I sent a screenshot, and I'm like, which of all the advertisements, I was like, which one? Seriously, which advertisement is misleading? I would love to know, because all I say is, hey guys, we have a podcast. Come and listen to our podcast. And then I give a link to our podcast. So where exactly is the misleading portion of my advertisement? I really, really, really would like to know. And I don't know how I'm misleading or giving people a false impression of what they're getting, because I don't fucking sell anything. There's no it's to the point there's no advertisements in our fucking podcast. And the most I'll talk about is our awesome Patreons over at patreon.com/The Models Workshop, or patreon.com/Models Workshop, because they're awesome folks and they donate to us to help us bring more content out to people, to upgrade equipment like Mark's microphone, and partially the video card that I had to buy for my new machine, or for the machine because the old one blew out. And that's it. I mean, I really seriously have no fucking idea how I could be misleading in my advertisement when all I ever did was either advertised the podcast, or I advertised, like if I did an article. I think I boosted my light arc, and it's literally a guide on how to build the light arc. So I'm not sure exactly how I could be false advertising that too. But yeah, I'm banned, and there's nothing I can do. I can't appeal it. I've been emailing Facebook for weeks trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, get everything appealed, and they basically shut me down.
That is kind of strange. I mean, someone had to actually do that, right? How long ago was this? I mean, it wasn't like a recent person, was it?
No, it was, it had to have been a few months ago. I could pull up when my last advertisement was, but it had to have been a few months ago, because that's when my credit card was lost, and I got a new one, and that's what I honestly thought that it said boost unavailable because it didn't have a valid credit card attached. So I went to attach my credit card to my PayPal account and start boosting the podcast a buck here, a buck there, just to get the word out a little bit more. And it's like, nope, you can't do it. You have been banned, blah, blah, blah. If you have any questions, email support, which was fucking worthless. I'm literally going, Facebook, you're false. You're believing false flags. You won't let me appeal, and you're banning me from giving you money. Right. Because that makes every bit of fucking sense in the world. Absolutely. No, actually it doesn't. It makes no fucking sense at all. And they won't look at it. They won't actually just take 5 minutes and look at what I was advertising to show that it wasn't misleading in any way, shape,
they don't
form.
have to.
Was it misleading?
They don't care. It's they make so much goddamn money about everything else.
Here's the thing. The dude that's been helping me, like, if he'd have taken 5 minutes and just went and looked at the advertisement that was false flagged for being misleading advertisement, he would have seen, oh, okay, what he's advertising is actually what they're doing. Now, here's the fucked up part about it, Mark. If you were an admin on the Models Workshop page, you could boost it.
Wait, what?
Yeji can boost it. Yeah. Models Workshop itself can still be boosted. I personally cannot. My account is banned from boosting anything that I'm a page admin on. But all the rest of the admins can boost it.
That sounds like someone...
Riddle me that one.
No, that sounds personal. That sounds like someone went in and just was like, okay, Larry, and they were mad at you for some reason. Because that doesn't even make sense then. And from a standpoint of Facebook, that doesn't make sense. Because if they're saying that it's a false advertisement on Miles' Workshop, then no one should be able to do it, right? If you're going to go with common sense. But that's just thrown out the window.
Well, no, I can't boost Gen 24. I can't boost Gen 24. I can't boost the Founding Fields, the book review site that I'm part of. I can't boost 6th Congressional Latino Caucus for Indiana that I'm a part of. I can't do it. But anybody else, any of the other admins can. So I pissed off somebody. I did. And they somehow managed to go after me. And if it's someone that I directly pissed off, it's down to 2 people that it had to have been. Now, if it's someone who I pissed off and I'm not aware of pissing them off because it was indirect, then I don't know who it is. But if it's someone that I directly pissed off, it's down to 2 people.
Well, more recently, I would say, but in the past, yeah.
No, it was before the incident that happened 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Because I've been dealing with this incident even before I was dealing with that guy.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
it literally has to be. It's one of it could potentially be 3, but I really doubt it. But it's 2, and they're all 3 of them are women. Huh. Which is weird because I really get along with a lot of the female painters. It's just the 3 that I've managed to piss off the most happen to all be women too. Oh well.
I know 2 of them.
One of these days
I think I know 2 of them. I don't maybe know the third.
One of them has blocked. One of them, or 2 of them have blocked me. No, one of them blocked me, and the other 2 I blocked. You definitely know one of them because I really don't like this person. The other one, you were there whenever I think we mutually blocked each other. And the other one was something a little more recent. And it pissed off Yeji, too.
Oh, wow.
Does that give you enough of a clue?
Yeah, I think so. Yeji doesn't get too
angry. That person blocked me, I guess. It was something that happened, and it I think pissed off Yeji even more than it pissed me off, which is really scary.
Yeah, Yeji doesn't get mad too easily.
One of these days, I'm just gonna. Oh no, she's actually typically my safety cushion. Like when I get pissed off, usually I'll go to Yeji, and she'll either tell me if I have a valid reason to be pissed off, but I need to chill. If I have a valid reason to be pissed off, and go ahead and fucking go after the person, or if I'm just being. Or if it's my anxiety triggering and me getting there's a couple times that I've went to Yeji over you, Mark.
Me? What the fuck did I do?
You did something that just fucking it was 6 months ago, and it actually wasn't the incident where you ended up leaving the group for a month to collect your thoughts. It was actually even before that.
Really? Wow.
No, it was Oh yeah, you did something and fucking just scraped my nerves. No, it was an anxiety attack, so it wasn't even really you. So it wasn't anything. It was.
Was it the rainbow brush comment? Because I remember we got into it about that.
Rainbow brush.
Yeah. Well, we can tell. Rainbow brush did the rainbow brush was at Gen Con. Remember?
I remember discussing it in short.
And here's my viewpoint. This is just my own opinion, and I'm going to keep it short and simple. Rainbow Brush was there to support LGBT, and I loved it. I painted my Nurgle guy up in all the colors of the rainbow. Happily support it. I think it's great. And the next year, they were doing support for a certain religious group. And I'm not going to get into it, but let's just say that certain religious group is very openly against anybody who's LGBT. So I thought that was sort of strange that one year you'd support, LGBT, and the next year you support a religious group that is, they don't hide it. It's not like you have a certain group that are like, we don't really like it, but it's okay. They're openly against it. And in certain parts of the world, you're dead. They kill you. So, and I was like, I don't really see how the two coincide. I see where you're coming from with support, but at the same time, they're an open religion. I mean, they're very more open about like anti-LGBT. So it was sort of a really different contradiction. But then again, I'm not very religious at all. So it was, I'm like, live and let live.
It might have been. It might have been.
You and I got into it big time because you were. I don't think I was seeing your point and you weren't seeing my point because you were seeing it from the other point. I'm like, I see where you're coming from, but that was not where I was going with it.
Probably if I seemed to got heated, if I openly got heated in our chat, then more than likely I went to Yeji and talked to her because she's usually I'll vent to her for like 2 or 3 minutes, and she's like, "Eat a Snickers, bitch," and then I'll move on.
Eat a Snickers, bitch.
Because when
that's awesome.
Oh, I'm fucking horrible about it. No, because if I let it run wild, shit like what happened with Mocha happens. There was a misunderstanding. I got pissed. I kicked her out, and I regretted that decision like 2 minutes after it happened. Because I'm the type that I'll get really pissed off but I'll cool down pretty fucking quick.
We haven't had any disagreements in a while. At least I don't think we have. Or that I know of.
Even even the time that you left the group, in all honesty, I honestly wrote that one up to the fact that you were frustrated about not being able to paint because of your back and the pain because of your back. And I just let it slide and I just let you have your space until you're ready to come back. Because even then, like, you were yelling at me like, "You're blaming me for all of this shit." And I'm like, no, honestly, no, Mark, I'm not. I'm saying what I'm saying because I'm trying to show you that we have your back.
It was a little bit of that.
Hey, we did this.
It was other things as well. So we're just going to let it go as difference of opinion. Yeah. And it was hot-headedness on both parts, I would say.
I was never actually upset at all during that entire incident. I was the entire time, even you can ask Yeji, I was trying to talk you down.
Oh, well, I was hot-headed then.
You were like fucking
race car in the red.
Raging fucking hardcore.
Well, that happens.
Yeah, I'm sitting there, I'm like, Mark, what? No, that's not. You're just blaming me. No, Mark, I'm not. I'm trying to tell you we did this because we're showing that we have your back, and we are willing because we are a family group that we have your back, and I will follow your lead because I consider you that close of a friend. That's what I was trying to say back then.
Well, that whole
I wasn't saying
area gets me
I wasn't
heated,
blaming,
so to speak. I guess that whole, well, the artist type thing gets me heated.
I know.
So I'm not going to bring it up because it's not worth it.
I understand. Right, and that's why whenever you left and you need a little bit of time off, I was like, you know what? I got that, because I'm honestly trying to be a better person. If I go after anyone, I try not to go after individuals. I try to, if it's a company that's fucking up, I'll call a company out because they're not an individual. They're usually a group of people. But I'm trying not to attack people individually. I'm trying to improve myself. And that goes along with even the people that I'm with all the time. For you that don't know out there in listener land, we have a private chat channel that all the members of Models Workshop that are active, who want to be part of it, basically all of us, sit down and we chat all the time. And it could be anything from the weather, me almost hitting a fucking gas tank laying in the middle of the interstate, to showing off pictures of miniatures and critiquing the absolute dog shit out of them. And that's what Mark meant by there's two ways of growing about it. You can get a small group of people, 5 or 6 people that are really close and have a different viewpoints on stuff, and get them together, and you will all improve. Or you can join a board where people don't fucking fluff you and reach around and give you a damn tickle your anus or something. So what you want, like, if you come to, okay, I'll make this pledge, and please forgive me if I don't have time to sometimes, because I'm actually an incredibly fucking busy person. If you go to Models Workshop discussion group, for anyone who isn't a member of it, go to the Models Workshop discussion group, sign up for it, join our group, would love to have you, tag me, be like, hey, Larry, critique my model. And I'm going to warn you, I will critique it. don't get butthurt, because I'm going to critique it. I will tell you the mistakes that I see on it. I might not give you everything. If you're a newer painter, I'm going to give you stuff that is not going to overwhelm you. If I know that you're new, or if you're a listener and you join and I don't know who you are, say, hey, I've been painting 6 months. Look at my model. Tell me what you think, and tell me how to improve.
Yeah, we're not going to tear you apart. We wouldn't ever tear someone new apart like that. That's wrong. You want to encourage people, but at the same time,
like Mark, I'm
high level. Larry will come into me and he's like, "This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong." He's not saying it because he's just saying like this needs to be fixed, and it's short and to the point. Of he knows how I'm looking at it, and I know how he's looking at it. He'll say, "Fix this, this, and this," and I'll look at it from another point of view and be like, "Okay, I see it." But like we've been together, we've been doing this for almost a year now. Whereas if a new painter came in, he's going to have to mold the viewpoint of you so you can understand where he's coming from. But he's just going to be like, "This is wrong." Whereas I could look at it and say, "Oh, okay, I got you. I see what you're talking about." But from a new standpoint, he's going to be like, "Okay, well, this is what you need to do because of the color, composition, the blending. There's a mold line." He'll go into detail more with the newer painter and try to help them. But like, if you're a active member, he can just go this, this, and this, and that's all there is to it. And you'd be like, "Oh, okay, I see it." And once you get that down, then it helps. So.
Also, there's a skill level. Mark, you've been painting for as long as I have. I think we both started almost the exact same time.
It's been about...
You have multiple crystal
about
brushes,
6 months now,
demons, and everything else.
About 6 months. Maybe 7 months now, yeah.
You started... Yeah, okay, yeah, you've been painting for 7 months. Mark, if you haven't... For listener land, if you haven't realized it yet, Mark is probably the biggest troll on the internet, because if you ask 10 people how old Mark is, you'll get 10 different answers.
I'm 52 next week.
He'll tell everyone a different age whenever they ask. It's actually kind of entertaining to sit down and watch, especially if you ask what his fucking favorite airbrush is.
If you think about it that way, I got my first Badger 105 Patriot Extreme when I was 36, and now I have 7 of them. No, I got 8. Yep, that's it. When they clog, I just get a new one.
He's 52. He just tosses out the window. But, oh, lordy. But you completely just derailed me. But you've been painting for a while, so I know I can hit you on your shading. I can hit you on your hard edging. I can hit you on a lot of stuff that I'm not going to hit a new guy on. On a new person, I'll be like, "Hey, you need to wash this model with this color wash because this." You are well past that. Maybe I might go, "Hey, you might want to hit it with a purple wash," and then I'll give you the theory behind it. There's a reason why I have Samsung Notes. That S Pen that you can pull out, I use that fucker all the time, because what I'll do is I'll take a screenshot of a person's model, and you can ask Mark. I've done it with his models.
Yes.
I'll take a screenshot of a model, and I'll use the S Pen with the fucking ink pen function and go through and fucking sketch and highlight arrows, make little write-ups. I'll go in and fucking, like, I'll highlight stuff in different colors, like this needs to be a shadow, this needs to be a highlight, and that's what I do. I mean, if you want to see me fully critique a model, if you're brave enough to be like, "You know what? I got some balls, dude. Fully critique this model. Critique everything. Tell me, critique everything. I'll critique it. But also keep in mind, guys, I'm incredibly busy. But if you honestly want straight up painting advice, ask us. Yeji, Mark, myself will be glad to give it to you. And that's the reason we have the discussion group, is for honest, but don't get butthurt. Because honestly, if you start coming back with a shit-ass attitude after we spent 30 minutes or an hour going over your model, I'll kick you. I really honestly have no qualms with it. I'll be like, go to Heavier Metal if you want like a fucking fluff job on your miniature.
Yeah. Not there's anything wrong. I say join. I like that place because they've got a lot of cool people that post a lot of great stuff. But if you're looking for honest feedback and critiques, I don't think you're going to get it there. So
I don't. I absolutely fucking hate Heavier Metal. It's not the people that are there, but their admin staff is a bunch of fucking assholes. I cannot stand those guys.
It's one of those things where recently more things I've been blocking political posts and opening up more art posts, so to speak. So, and they've had some really cool stuff, especially because I think Warhammer World or the Warhammer Fest is this weekend, or the weekend we're recording. So I think it's this weekend. There's been a lot of really cool stuff getting posted up. It's been interesting.
Well, I'm probably banned from that group. I'm not sure. I left the group to begin with, but no. I'll tell the story. I've got no problem telling what happened. When the podcast first came out, I was a little spammy with it. I'm sure people can attest to that. But I actually usually didn't post in Heavier Metal unless I had a painted miniature, and like I'd be like, "Hey, look at this miniature, da da da," and we talk about it on the podcast. So it would be an advertisement, but it would be kind of a sly advertisement. I always used to,
but not a
pictures.
False advertisement.
Well, yeah, but not a false advertisement, except unless Facebook. No, what happened was I posted the Battlefleet. They had mock-ups of the Battlefleet Gothic game. They had just been released. I like Battlefleet Gothic. I have a huge Eldar space fleet for Battlefleet Gothic. They had Eldar in there, including the big Warp Hunter ship made out of plastic. And if anyone who's ever put the large Eldar ship together in pewter can tell you why I was excited. And I shared it to the Heavier Metal group, and I'm like, oh my god, look guys, the BFG game is coming out. I cannot wait to get these models and paint them. So they deleted my post, and I had this rude fucking admin message me and tell me, your post has been removed because you're advertising. And we don't allow advertising. And I'm like, what? I'm advertising? What am I advertising? The Battlefleet Gothic game. I was like, does it say works at Games Workshop on my fucking bio? I'm a goddamn hobbyist, and I'm truly fucking excited about the Battlefleet Gothic game coming out and being boosted again, and everything coming out in plastic. That's not me advertising. That's me being excited about something, and that's kind of what the painting community is about.
It's just you being a gamer,
and he was just or
a hobbyist,
right. And especially since you're in a group that the name is basically stolen from the Heavy Metal group, because I remember when the Heavier Metal group came out, you have a name that you blatantly stole from fucking Games Workshop. And yeah, so, and then I contacted an admin, and he was just kind of douchey about it. And I was like, you know what, y'all can both go fucking fuck yourselves, because you know what, I don't need this group, and I haven't been back since. I don't miss it. There's so many awesome paint groups out there that Heavier Metal, whatever.
No,
the only reason that group got big is because they when the Heavy Metal, and I've heard other people have had issues with their admins, but when the Heavy Metal group got shut down by Games Workshop, they took the Heavier Metal, and they had the most people come over to their group, because I can name 15 different groups that were formed that day when GW shut down the Heavy Metal group. And Heavier Metal just happened to be the one that had the most people go to it. They weren't anything special. They weren't anything else. They spammed more people. That's all they did.
I honestly thought when I joined...
And you know me, I have no problem calling a fucking...
that it was the actual group. I didn't know any difference.
I'm honestly surprised. Games Workshop hasn't stepped in and fucking sent a C&D letter to him. Because... you could hit them, like you said, for misrepresenting. I mean, the name is too damn close to the Heavy Metal.
Yeah, but
maybe someone should contact Laurie and be like, "Hey, you know about this group?"
But at the same time, it's like, it is what it is. I saw that someone else just recently changed their T-shirt design because of that, so that was interesting.
That was under my advice.
Well, it's smart
because I apparently am the fucking asshole. I'm apparently the asshole that will tell everyone else is like, "Hey, that's great," and I'm like, no, you're using a Space Marine. That's a great way to get a cease and desist letter.
Yeah,
I've dealt with
Games Workshop is
I've dealt with Lori
for that
Golding
shit.
on cult. I was okay. So the Founding Fields was originally formed. The book review site that I'm part of, or co-owner of, was originally formed to review Black Library books before we branched out to Angry Robot and whatever else we wanted to review. And trust me, we've dealt with Lori Golding on multiple occasions One time we got a C&D because we put a review up too early. We got another C&D because we had a huge... We exposed part of the slander thing that happened a few years back.
Okay.
We also got another C&D. We have a collection of cease and desist letters from Games Workshop, and we are honestly nowhere near as big as the group that you're talking about.
Yeah.
They're much bigger than even the Founding Fields. And we have a collection of C&D. And I wasn't trying to be a dick when I was like, you really need to change that t-shirt design. I was being truthful. They will get a cease and desist letter. And they changed it, and it looks good. I actually like the new one more than I do the old one.
I like the face mask. And I thought it was good. I'm like, you took advice and you're like thinking it through, and they switched it, and I'm like, good for you. Because otherwise, if you go and produce those and they come out with that, you just lost a ton of money. So it was...
Yeah, because they will C&D that shit quicker than fuck. You better sell every single t-shirt before that letter arrives.
Yeah. There was
I don't know.
There was a funny Flash Git animation
like
about that. I don't know if you ever saw that one, where it was just animation. If you ever go look up Flash Gits, you can look up, I think it was like CW, but they made jokes about horrible things in Games Workshop. And this was like a couple years ago. and they were like, some kid is using unpainted models in a hobby store, and they were firing off cease and desist letters through rockets for stupid crap like that. But at one point, it was so stupid how much shit they were doing. You're like, really, guys? I understand you want to protect your intellectual property, but now you're getting silly because it was so dumb on everything. I'm like, you're spending more money on this crap. Well, they probably have tons of lawyers on retainer anyways, but it just seems silly. I think
Larry Golding is their staff lawyer, and he has a template for cease and desist. Here's the thing that with GW most of the time, and one thing people don't understand is if you get a cease and desist and you honestly think it's false, like truly you didn't do anything wrong, just email them and be like, hey, I got the cease and desist and I wanted to talk to you about it. Like there's a huge thing that happened years ago, it's been years, with Spot the Space Marine. And the book was taken down on Amazon, and it was a huge fucking deal. Like Will Wheaton actually got involved with this. That's how big it got. Will Wheaton was involved in the entire deal about how GW is overstepping their bounds because they think they own the term Space Marine and blah, blah, blah. It turns out it was a complete misunderstanding. Like, what happened was GW reached out to Amazon saying, hey, just to give you a heads up, we've been notified of this book, Spot the Space Marine, and we are looking into the matter to see if they are breaking our intellectual property. And Amazon, in a knee-jerk reaction, was like, oh shit, took the book down.
Oh, they pulled it to be just
like Games Workshop didn't even... Right. Like GW did not request them to take the book down. Actually, GW was just giving Amazon a heads up saying, hey, we're researching this book because we think it might be breaking our intellectual property, but we're not sure. And Amazon, either because they've dealt with GW in the past or whatever reason, was like, oh shit, we're going to rip the book down. And like I said, everybody, including Will Wheaton, fucking got involved in this. Like, that's how big it was. It was all over Gizmodo. It was all over Geeks and Sundry. It was all over... Right. And it turns out that it was actually Amazon's fault. And, like, GW... That was when GW shut down their Twitter. That's when GW shut down their Facebook page. It got so bad they shut down all their social media. And it's only recently started coming back. But they shut down everything. Actually, it got three of our book reviewers blacklisted by Black Library. That's how, because it was fucking horrible, that entire deal. And it was, honestly, it wasn't even Games Workshop. Like, people were getting pissed off because the Games Workshop weren't issuing any statements. And then they finally were just like, oh, we found out the book wasn't breaking our copyright. So go ahead and let it publish again. And, like, I dealt with the woman because, I'm a book reviewer. So I messaged her. And we declined to interview after we talked to her for about 2 minutes.
It's a misunderstanding, and it's it's like you said, a knee-jerk reaction, but people wanted to probably, as you said, it was Amazon's fault.
People want to fucking hate Games Workshop because they're Games Workshop.
True.
But if you honestly get a cease and desist letter, and you honestly, like, you have a book named Spot the Space Marine, and it's not a Space Marine, it's a Marine in space, you just email them and be like, hey, this is what I have, because they do not own the copyright to Space Marine. Oh, they own the trademark to Space Marine capitalized. They don't own the term Space Marine.
Yeah. I think they're doing better now. Games Workshop. I don't know about cease and desist letter, but I know the company itself is doing much better in their stuff. I've been very excited about some of their new stuff, and they've been producing a lot of cool models. And
everyone has been a lot more excited about new stuff.
I don't know what it is, and even the prices don't even bother me, which used to be one of the major things, because the quality they've been coming out with lately has just been amazing. So I don't know what to say.
It's a new CEO. They fired their old CEO.
Well, whatever they're doing is working. And I guess this CEO is finally like, hey, board games is a new thing. Maybe we should start trying to convert our games into board games and make them cross-compatible and make this...
No. The board games is born of something completely different. It had to happen, sadly. Everybody should actually be embracing the entire board game model because of what's been going on. But no... It wasn't so much that he was like, hey, yes, he did. He realized this has to happen, because if not, our company is not going to survive.
Yeah. Or
it would survive because it's just fucking Games Workshop, but it would lose market share. But the CEO is actually paying attention to the player. The players they're pumping out facts faster than they ever have. They actually took a stand on getting everybody a new army book, and almost a little too quick. But whatever. They've taken the White Dwarf and made it what it used to be back in the 90s, in the early 2000s, instead of the garbage that they had recently. They've started offering more for a better deal. They have become the industry standard again for what a good-looking model is. There for a while, it was like, their models are kind of shitty looking. Nowadays, they're back to being, for a production model, I'm not talking Pratique, not talking Kingdom Death like shovel shit, but for production models, their shit is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is industry standard now.
Yeah, no one is producing a better production kit than Games Workshop. They have almost no mold lines. They're all fucking plastic. You can put some of their models together, like some of their 20-piece models together with no glue, and it sticks together because that's how well made they are. They all kind of slide together, and you don't even have to glue it. And he started paying attention to the players again, and that's the big thing. Offering deals on box armies, that type of stuff. But to go back on the board game model, basically, okay, you remember what it was like back in early 2000s. How many miniature games were there? Like actual fucking full-fledged miniature games.
In 2000, the only ones I really remember was I don't even think Privateer Press was out then. Weird wasn't out then, or Weird might have had a miniature. I don't think Privateer Press was out then. It was Games Workshop was out. So you had Fantasy and 40K. I think maybe Confrontation was like the hotness back then, like in 2000. Like the Confrontation
was out, but the models were magnificent. The paint jobs on the models were magnificent.
The game little iffy
was. Right.
Was there more time?
Okay, so
I think there was more
fast forward.
time.
Let's say Well, that's a Games Workshop product.
Yeah.
Everything was Games Workshop. Almost everything was Games Workshop. Okay, so then Privateer Press came out because you had the GW haters, but there was no place for them to go. And so Privateer Press came out and created a skirmish game that still had a lot of the elements that people liked. And I have no fault with that. That's great. That's something that was needed. The anti-GW people had a place to go. The models in the game was fun. So Awesome. So now you have another miniature company that's actually producing. That's not a boutique. So you walk into a gaming shop. If you had a Privateer Press army and you had a Games Workshop army, primarily 40K for the US, Fantasy for the UK. That line's blurred recently, but back in the day, that's usually what it was. Europe was Fantasy, United States was 40K. But if you had two armies, you walk into a gaming shop and go, "Hey, I'm here to play. Who wants to sit down and play?" And someone is like, "Hey, I got War Machine," or someone goes, "Hey, I've got Dark Angels," and y'all could play. Now let's fast forward to 2016. What do we have now? Here's the sad thing, Mark. If I tell you, Mark, give me the name of 10 different miniature games that's out there. You could.
I can, yeah.
Probably without even thinking too hard.
Yeah.
And the problem is that there is an absolute oversaturation, and people are going to say, "But Larry, having choices is great." And yes, having choices is great when it's like 4 or 5. When there is literally 100 fucking different games out there, that's an oversaturation of the market. It's splintering your player group, your player base, to the point where if I walked in with 10 different games and go, "Hey guys, I've got 40K, Fantasy, War Machine, Weird, Confrontation, blah, 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 blah," there's a decent chance that I'm not going to find another player to play because the market is so splintered. There's an oversaturation of miniature games. And that's why every time I see a new miniature game coming out on Kickstarter, I'm just like, fucking stop. Please just stop. We do not need any more fucking games. We don't. It's been beaten to death. It's been killed. There's too many fucking games out here. If you want to make some miniatures that are compatible with other things, can be swapped in, fucking awesome. But we do not need any more games. And what happened, and the cause, that's the cause, and the effect of it is the board game model. What is the board game model? The board game model is where you get a box of miniatures. Yeah, you get a box of miniatures that has everything you need for at least 2 people to play. And it's not a starter set. It's everything you need for 2 people to play. Is there expansion packs? Yes, of course. Like, perfect example. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles board game has over 100 models in it. And it's enough in there for up to 4 people to play. Could that have been a tabletop war game in and of itself? Fuck yeah. Dude, I've been waiting for a Ninja Turtles tabletop war game since the 90s. And it's never come out. So we have a board game. Why is the board game the better model? Because everything I need and my friends need to play comes in the board game. Even though it has more miniatures than you would typically use in a tabletop war game. Super Dungeon Explorer, same thing. Everything is, it's a board game. Even though it really should be a tabletop war game, it's a board game because you get everything that you need and your friends need to play. So you don't have to rely on another person having an army. I can be like, "Hey, Mark, I've got the Ninja Turtles board game. Do you want to sit down and play?" "Sure, Larry, I've got it," because you have everything. That's the board game model. And every fucking person is doing. Kingdom Death Monster 1.5. Board game model. Silver Tower from Games Workshop, board game model. I'm not even going to say Blood Bowl because it was always a board game model, and same with even BFG and Mordheim. It was always a pseudo board game model. But things that weren't a board game model in the past are now a board game model because you get, like Silver Tower, you get everything for you and 3 buddies or 4 buddies or 5 buddies to sit down and play.
Yeah.
No one else has to buy, just one person. And everybody is moving to that model now. Even Games Workshop moved to that model because it is such an oversaturation. You have to give the player, everything they need for everyone to play because you cannot rely on everyone owning a second army anymore. It doesn't happen. You have little niche groups like the Danger Room in Anderson, Indiana. They might be real strong with War Machine, so you're going to get a War Machine game there. But what happens if I go down to Greenwood? And I'll be like, "Hey, I got my War Machine stuff," and everyone's like, "Oh, we play Infinity here."
And then you're screwed.
Like, Yeah, and then you're just sitting there going, well, do you have another army? Oh, no, because our games are not set up like that. Well, if you come down and be like, oh, it's a board game model game. Yeah, I got Silver Tower. Yeah, who here wants to play? There's 5 people playing. Awesome. Or you got Timmy. Now, GW's doing it smart. GW's doing it amazingly smart. Because Silver Tower is compatible with Fantasy, or what is Age of Sigmar. GW is doing it incredibly smart. And you have an Age of Sigmar army and you want to play Silver Tower, guess what? You can bring that character over because GW is doing it smart because they're doing both. They're kicking their fucking tabletop war game and their board game, and they're doing it in a brilliant fucking way. But honestly, that's the effect. Is everything is a fucking board game now. Everything is coming out as a board game because it has to, because you can't rely on fucking Johnny to go out and have an army. You have to buy it for him so he'll sit down and play because he's buying 3 other fucking board games too. And it's all due to the fucking oversaturation of the miniature market. Is it healthy? Is competition healthy? Yeah, to a point. Whenever there's 500 different brands, there's a reason why if you ever look at different commodities like cell phones, there's 7 different manufacturers of cell phones, and that's about it. Because that's what the market can bear. If you have 500 brands of cell phones, then no one is getting a slice of the pie big enough to really give a fuck. But the problem is that miniatures, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, are kind of cheap to produce, and everyone's kickstarting them. And now we have 1,000 fucking games out here. And you're just going, which one should I play?
I think it's
all of them.
I think it's a really cool
not everyone can do that
concept now. It's a new era of games because you have the hybrid, or so to speak, where you have an amazing board game, which is a typical board game, but then you have these people that like, and I hate to use Cool Mini or Not as an example, but it's true. Blood Rage is a great example. Blood Rage is probably one of my favorite games at the moment, and the models are awesome. And they don't need to be. You don't even need that. You could use tokens, but they give you those cool models with it. And I think that's a great way, and I think the all-included models, or, you get little extras that come with it. So do I need the extras to play? No. But when you get them and you bring them, everyone can use them and play with them. So it's a new style, and I think it's being embraced, and I think Games Workshop is doing a great job of incorporating it, especially because it's hybridization. But the primary reason is exactly right. You said it 100%. You go to a model store or a game store and you want to play something. If you bring in something that everyone can automatically play and bust open, you've got a better chance of playing a game. Whereas if you bring your War Machine and they're a GW store or vice versa, you're screwed for the night. And especially if they don't have extra models, then you're like, oh, well, my one party to show up. Anyone want to play this? No, we don't play that game. And it's true. It is so much more than just that. I mean, there is not Kingdom Death because that's more of a board game, but you have like Infinity. You have some of the other little smaller games like Warhawk games now. And I want to say like Relic Knights, but I think Relic Knights is doing a new thing where the base board game is 2 armies, 2 factions now. And so you automatically get two factions right out of the box. But I don't know, two player games nowadays, miniature strategy games, I guess so. But we'll see. I'm excited about that one. The new models look pretty cool.
Okay, but here's the thing. I look at the Kingdom Death thing, and it's a board game design. But on the same token, I honestly kind of look at that one and go, you know what? That would have been a really badass tabletop miniature game. I really seriously think that it had a potential to be a tabletop game, and it's not now because they can't really do the tabletop aspect of it. It's I don't know. I just maybe I'm just old and salty, and I'm standing on my fucking soapbox because
we are.
Apparently that's what I fucking love to do, and this is yes, folks. I understand that I don't care how much I bitch on this issue. Nothing is going to be done about it. It's nothing. It's just like whenever I said, hey, look, it's nice that so-and-so is doing a Kickstarter because they can't afford fucking 5 molds. And I was completely wrong on that one. I'll fully admit it. Actually, a 15-year friend of mine called me out on it. We used to play Warlord, the CCG together, and he turns out he's a miniature painter, and he's been following me. He straight up fucking called me out on that. He's like, "It's a different company, you jackass. You should read a little bit more." Oops, my bad. And I understand, no matter how much I bitch about this, it's not going to stop people from producing games. And it's not a business model. It's going to change. And in some aspects of it, I like it. I like the hybrid tabletop / board game aspect that's coming out now. Because then for the exact same reason, I don't have to rely on Mark having the game or Yeji having the game. Because I have it. And that's all it needs to be done. Like Ninja Turtles. I have the full fucking box of Ninja Turtles. I don't have to worry about anyone having the Donatello miniature for us to play. I've got everything. So in some ways, I guess it's good. But on the same token, I really don't like the fact that there's like 900 fucking games out there, because I like to play my games with my friends, and it's making it really hard to play my friends or play games with my friends because there's so many fucking choices. You know, because Mark's like, "I got cheese," and then Yeji's like, "I got Kingdom Death," and I'm like, "I got Eldar."
Yeah,
because we were actually Models Workshop was actually at one point designing a game, and it was actually going to be fairly different than a lot of the games out there, and we just kind of like looked at it and was like, "Nah, not even really worth our time." And we're probably 70% done with the rule set, so it was one of those things. We even had a company that, if we decide to move forward, we'll probably publish it for us. And we kind of looked at it and we're like, nah, we would rather focus on the podcasting and doing tutorials and doing articles and get known that way versus the game. Because, we're actually fairly unique. A miniature painting podcast, there's not many of them. We don't do gameplay, and that's a big thing that we've heard. It's like, hey, you don't do gameplay. It's why we listen to your show. So, there's 1,000 different fucking games out there. There's one of us. Until we launch the next podcast.
The PG version?
Then there'll be 2 of us. The G version, yeah.
Where we don't say words like darn.
Right. Nah, it's actually kind of moving along a little bit. It's going to be a slow process. If we launch the second podcast, and it's still an if, even though it's looking more like a win, it's still going to be months. I'm not going to jump into it like I did with this. I mean, this was like literally like, let's get together and talk about anything. Like the first episodes, we didn't talk about anything modeling. It took one of our listeners to go, "Hey, can you actually give painting advice?" Oh, yeah, I guess that does make a lot of sense, doesn't it? So, yeah. But the whenever we finally launch the other one, it'll be some good shit. I think it'll be really awesome. We might put some test episodes up on this channel just to see feedback and see what people think, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good. And don't worry, like I said on the other podcast, this motherfucker ain't going nowhere, because I got to have an outlet for all these cuss words before my head explodes. And I got to make Mark blush, because that's my goal. Damn, all right, so we had one guy, he's now a patron too. So we had this guy who chastised us for our high school humor, and we're like, you and Yeji feed off of each other. And now that I don't have my Yeji, and it's the very tame Mark, it's so true, because I haven't made one cum joke the entire night. I miss my Yeji.
Just say you don't have to. It's good. I don't have to blush.
But I like making you blush. It's fun.
It's okay. Then I try to change the subject too quickly, and I call people taints.
Taint you doing that wrong?
Total by accident.
All right, so recap everything. The board game model is neat. Kind of wish it hadn't had to have happened, but it's here. It's not queer, but it is to stay. Hey, it made sense in my head. But lots of good stuff coming up with Adepticon. Larry likes to bitch, and every once in a while it actually gets things accomplished. And just doesn't outrageously piss people off. Whatever. What else did we talk about? Paint markers. Got paint markers. Yay.
Paint markers. Adepticon. The chibi category coming back. Very excited. I totally want to talk about Drew's project for Adepticon, but I can't swore me secrecy, but we'll probably get him on or something to talk about the project that was happened and how.
Yeah, why hasn't Drew ever been on? Seriously.
He's
like a huge chibi painter. You talk about him all the fucking time. I swear you've got a goddamn boy crush on him, and you haven't had him on the show yet.
I do. Like, I fanboy over the guy all the time because he's, like, you say, like, you know, I've won a Golden Demon. The guy's got, like, 12 of them. And we're not talking, like, I got a bronze. He's got golds. I mean, he was up for a Slayer Sword at one point, and I forgot the guy who won, but, like, that's how many he's been up for Slayer Sword, I think, a couple times. You know what I mean? Because he's won best of category in a couple of the events at Games Day. So, you know.
Well, that's what a Golden Demon is. If you've won a Golden Demon, that means you've won
best
the
of
best
category,
of the category.
So he's done quite a bit. He's won Privateer Press, best in categories many times. He's gotten many golds and crystal brushes. You know, he's so busy. He's got 3 kids now, and you know, he does commission work. So I think he's out of town this weekend, and like a lot of times he comes on the pot or the hangout, but he's usually teaching classes at the game store too. So he's busy all the time. But he's got a super secret project for the Adepticon.
Go talk. All right, well, talk with him since he's your best bud, and see if you can get him. See if he wants to come on the show, and he'd be more than welcome on the show.
No, he does.
Oh, you know what we forgot to. Oh, he does want to come on the show.
Yeah, we just got to figure out a time when he's always so busy. And he was talking about it. We're talking about it, and he's like, I'd love to. It's just there's time, and I said we'll figure it out.
Right. And honestly, it's one of those things where if you and Yeji have time where you guys can sit down with them and record an episode, do it. I mean, it doesn't have to be me on the show all the time.
Okay.
Because,
who's going to make him feel uncomfortable?
True.
But yeah,
Is he the type that would embarrass easy?
No,
that might be fun.
No, I don't think so. I think he'd fire right back at you and just keep going with the laughs.
He's good. I like that. I like those type of guys.
But anyways, so
I should look up a Kickstarter if there's any that are.
Recap.
Lots of cool shit. Larry bitched a little bit, gave some painting advice, talked about beeswax because there's none of your beeswax. Talked about how Mark is ungrateful when getting painting advice because he's too used to me, bastard.
I am grateful.
You argued with me for 2 weeks about tits, dude.
Doesn't mean I'm not grateful. Maybe I just want to argue. Maybe I just want to argue about like the subject matter, huh? Ever think of that?
You shouldn't have to argue about the subject matter. You've got plenty of the subject matter at home.
Heyo.
Between you and your wife, you've got Jay and Silent Bob.
Okay. Now I am blushing a little bit. Thanks, Larry.
I was talking about you being Silent Bob, but whatever. Maybe it's because you're getting smothered.
By the way, if anyone wants to at Adepticon...
So how do you handle her being...
Come see me. Changing subjects.
I wasn't sure where that one was going.
Transitions. Come see me at Adepticon.
I'm talking about your wife's... No, Mark. Let's break this down. I'm talking about your wife's boobs, and all of a sudden you switch to, if anyone wants to see me at Adepticon, I swear to God, I thought you were like, I got pictures to prove it.
No. I was just going to say, if you come to Adepticon, there'll be no pictures. Well, I mean, we'll do selfies or something, take some pictures, but if anyone wants to come hang out, I'll be mostly at the painting area.
Let me take a selfie.
And last year I had Chibi Bernie. I don't have him anymore. I gave him to Donald, and because he's a big Bernie supporter like I am.
Are you going to be hanging with the Wapples in Fort Wapple?
You know what's funny about that is that even though I was next to James and Kathy were there in spirit. All their stuff was there, but James was so busy running around to different places. I couldn't believe it. He was hardly ever at the painting station. He was constantly going to vendor booths and doing stuff here and there. I get the feeling he's not going to be there that much at all either this year. But I will be at the painting area. And I'll try to be around, James, but dude, that guy doesn't stop. He's constantly, if there's not one person coming up to him, there's another person coming up to him. So I sat with him a couple times, but after the first time I sort of gave him the space because, oh my gosh, everybody wants to hang out with him and Kathy. So but then, I'm saying he was constantly being pulled to the vendor area for some of these vendors for like, I think it was Wild West Exodus and some other stuff too he was doing. So, and now he's doing a lot of tank work, but I'll be in the painting area and there's a lot of people hanging out. I will not be at the bar. I will be actually at the painting area painting with.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. You're going to be sitting there looking for a fucking shark to ride.
Well, I might have a drink, and I might go to the bar with you to get a drink and myself a drink, but then I'm going to come back and I'm going to actually paint with the painters in the painting area with paint. I'm not going to sit at the bar all day and talk about it. I'm actually going to do it. Well, I might ride a shark.
Oh, so next time I send you a package, you know how that you have a second address or a company line? Yeah. I'm going to put Made Man. Made Man Inc.
Please don't do that. I don't want the government to start thinking that like that's a mob name or something and I'm tied to it. And because already like I get weird looks and the guy's like, who's Mark the Shark? I'm like, that's me. And they're like, oh, okay.
Because now not only am I sending him stuff in the mail marked as Mark the Shark, Yeji is doing it too.
No, it wasn't just
so
you guys.
So if anyone in Listenerland ever sends Mark...
Nandy did it. Nandy did it from Nandy.
Who?
Fernando, the guy in our hangout. He did it from, I forget where he's from, Costa Rica? So I got an international package coming with Mark the Shark. And it was a small package. And
if anyone ever sends a package to Mark, it's an ear or a pinky.
Guys, he's joking. Don't do that. I don't care if you make it out of clay or something. Don't do that. That's weird. You could send me something if you want. But if you ever send him don't do that.
If you ever send him a package, make sure to address it to Mark the Shark Maxi. It has to be. That's the new thing. Your postman is going to just start referring to you as the Shark.
He already does.
Here you go, Shark.
I just don't want anyone to come in and start winking at me and be like, hey, what do you give for family members, if you know what I mean? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We need a special unit. You know what I'm talking about, Shark.
You seem to know an awful. You seem to know an awful lot about that there.
I watch Sopranos.
Maybe Made Man Inc. is a little too close to home.
No.
Oh, okay. You watch The Sopranos. Oh man, so Audible has these things called daily deals where you can get a book cheap, it's like $2 or $3, and there was the dark history of the olive oil industry.
You were telling me about this, and you said
I meant to get it, and I ended up missing out on it. I completely fucking spaced on buying it. Well, it was a special deal, and the reason I wanted to get it is because olive oil is out of Italy, and actually a lot of the original mobsters and the crime families all started in olive oil. And so I was like, I want this book because it's going to be full of mob stuff. And I forgot to get it. I'm so sad.
It's okay. We'll find it someday. All right. On that note, I'm ready to call it the evening.
Oh, it's still there. I'd have to pay full price and all that good shit. I don't want to do it. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us at Models Workshop After Hours, the podcast where we'll make you blush and teach you some good old painting advice at the same time. Hopefully, we've been pretty entertaining. I know it was just two guys shooting a shit, but we got to do what we got to do without our Yeji poo. If you want to find us online, you can reach us over at facebook.com/ God damn it. Facebook.com / The Models Workshop. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com / NWAH podcast. And you can, if you want to help support this great endeavor of ours and hopefully help us expand in the future, you can head over to patreon.com / Models Workshop, or even $1 a month will help out greatly because we've got some big plans coming up. Like, seriously, we do. And yeah, any help is awesome because it'll speed the process up a little bit. Anything else, Mark?
No, I was just going to say that some of the Patreons, it does help. I mean, we do this for the love of it. I don't have a Patreon. I'm not a commissioned painter. I do this because I love painting and love talking about it. So anything does help. I mean, the microphone itself was a big help because you couldn't really hear me. And then, I got a brush and a couple paints for it. And it's stuff we use. We're not just throwing it around. We definitely use it. And I haven't said thank you. And I want to say thanks to everyone who supports us and, gives us a little say, hey, I listened to the show. It was great. It was entertaining. It was fun. And that really does help. Cause we do it for you guys. I mean, it's like past midnight in some places for Larry, and we're tired. You have to wake up early, but this was fun. Especially tonight. It was good stuff.
Oh, I get to go to the Muncie train show tomorrow. Me and my boys are going to. My wife actually called me. She was like, "Hey, Larry, there's a train model show or a model train show going on in Muncie. You should go to it." I was like, I almost cried. I was so happy that my wife called me and told me about a modeling show. I was like, oh my God, she actually finally, after 16 years, accepts my hobby. Or she's just resigned to the fact that I'm going to do it anyways. And my boys like trains.
Probably a little bit of both.
No, actually, the brush came from me, by the way. The brush was absolutely, I paid for it. It was before we had Patreon.
Oh, well then, okay. So then just, fuck everyone else. It's good. I like that. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I bought you a $13 brush. The Patreons bought you the $50 microphone. Just like the computer. Like, I blew my graphic card, which sucks because there's a lot of stuff that I just set up the video unboxing area, got everything set up. That was the main reason to move down here, so I could do better video production. And the graphics card blows out. The graphics card cost me $170. And I don't play video games.
Yeah.
Think about that. I bought a graphics card, a video game quality graphics card, simply so I could process videos. It was $170. That was offset a little bit by the money that we got from Patreon. And then next month, the Patreon money will go to knock it. I'll eat $70, but the 170 kind of hurt. And because of our awesome Patreons, or awesome patrons, that I was able to fix the computer the same day that it broke. And the money goes always for upgrades to Models Workshop. I could list you out. My expenditures for Models Workshop is enough to make me want to cry if I just think about it too much.
Don't cry.
I spend way too much on this damn thing. I don't know if I can help it, man.
It's okay.
I'm just heartbroken. No, but the patrons help. The patrons do help, and we do use it. Usually what I'll do is, with the exception of the graphics card, is I'll use it to buy an upgrade for one of the members of Models Workshop to give you guys better stuff. Like Mark having better quality because he has a better microphone. But we're always using it, and then usually stuff that I buy for myself, I just buy for myself. But thank you guys. If you do sign up, awesome. If you don't, I totally understand. And we'll still keep doing this for you guys because we love doing it and we love the feedback. And I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not saying do it to us because, that would be like, hey, come stroke my ego. But honestly, if there's another podcast you listen to or a website you go to and you love their content, or a YouTube channel that you go to and you love their content, send them a thank you. Seriously, send them a thank you. I've watched 2 of my friends shut down their podcast because no one ever sent them a message. And they told me, honestly, that was the reason they did it. They were like, we never got any interaction. I'm seeing X number of downloads, but no one ever messages me and like, hey, dude, great show. He's like, if I would have got one unsolicited thank you, I'd probably still be doing my podcast. Unsolicited as in a person he doesn't know. And we get that. And I love every one of you guys that do it. I love just getting random messages at 3 o'clock in the morning going, hey guys, I listened to the podcast. I love the show. I have a question about an airbrush. And I'm not being facetious. I fucking love it.
Me too.
That's what we do this for.
And of course, you answer with Patriot 105
absolutely
Extreme.
Right. But, it's one of those things where it makes us feel great because it's a nice, warm, and fuzzy. So for those that are listening, find another creator. Think a creator. Hashtag think a creator. Go out there and find someone else that you love listening to and send them a thank you, especially if they're small. Especially if they're small. If they're a small podcast and you enjoy listening to them, find them on Twitter. Find them on Facebook. Send them a message and go, I love you guys. I love the content that you put out. Thank you. Because most of us do this shit for free or we pay to do it. A thank you means a lot. And yeah, I think maybe next episode I want to try to do something, find a creator and go, hey, go check out this guy's. But also, just a real quick reminder, our buddy Glenn has his Sacred Sword Miniatures Chibi Kickstarter. He's at 44% funded and only 10 days to go. And honestly, his miniatures are $5 a piece, and they look really good. So check it out, especially if you're wanting to break in the chibis and you don't want to break your wallet. Check them out. There's a lot of cool stuff on there that you can pick up for $5 a mini. Haven't seen those prices for fucking ever ago. So, peace out, guys. Thank you for listening. And I know we were probably rambled on too long, but bye.
Bye, later.
Thank you for joining us for another great episode of Muddles Workshop After Hours, your one-stop podcast for laughs and great painting advice. We come out at least every other week, barring emergencies and holidays, of course, covering a wide variety of hobby topics and basically talking about life in general. When you're not listening to us through your favorite podcatcher, you can find the entire crew hanging out at facebook.com/The Models Workshop. That's all one word smushed together, sharing all the cool things that we find floating around the internet and giving out painting advice. You can also find Larry on Twitter and Instagram at MWAH Podcast, and Yeji and Clint at the same at Snickernack, which is NICKERNACK. If you like what we do, please make sure to drop a quick review on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or whatever service you listen to us on. This helps us out greatly and gets the word of the After Hours out to everyone. Models Workshop is done out of pocket. We have no advertisers because we like to be able to be completely truthful with you. If you want to make a donation to help us out, you can at paypal.me/Models Workshop, or you can do a monthly service at patreon.com/Models Workshop. Once again, thank you for listening. Until next time, grab those brushes, paints, and get to painting.